How is it going? I hope everyone is doing well, and thank you for tuning in to this video. Today I'm here with my 5th installment of my WCW nWo 1998 pay-per-view rewind. Of course, I'm here with my review of Slamboree, which was our May event that year. Without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and jump right into the show. The first 10 minutes of the show actually was pretty much a recap of Eric Bischoff on Thunder that previous week, calling out Vince McMahon. Of course, you know, a big portion of the show was the story of Eric Bischoff calling out Vince McMahon to an actual fight on this show, to an actual match, and that was a big portion of it. You know, you had their security guard, Doug Dillinger, awaiting Vince McMahon, quote unquote. So, yeah, that was, like I said, a pretty big portion of this pay-per-view. And believe it or not, Vince actually looked into appearing at this show and fighting Eric Bischoff for real. So, believe it or not, Vince actually did consider it at one point to actually show up at the show and accept it, but obviously Vince opted not to do that. But yeah, that was pretty much the first 10 minutes of the show, was recapping that and discussing about that, which led into the opening contest, which was for the WCW World Television Championship. Finley being the champion, defending against Chris Benoit. Obviously in this match, the crowd was very behind Chris Benoit. They desperately wanted him to win. Crowd did not like Finley at all. This match is about as gritty as it get, as you would think. You know, hard hitting. They, you know, a lot of grappling at the beginning, some nice transitions and some nice roll ups. You know, a lot of shoulder backslides for some pin attempts. Finley, it's a huge clothesline. So it's some good stiff stuff at the beginning of it. Match goes to the outside, which Finley loses the chair on Benoit, not once but twice. But apparently the referee doesn't give a flying fuck and doesn't, you know, ring for a DQ. So typical WCW there. But yeah, hard-hitting action back in the ring. Looked like Benoit was closing on the championship, but out of nowhere, Booker T comes walking down the ramp. He's staring down Benoit. Benoit's distracted. Finley hits a drop kick to Benoit, gets a near fall on him, ends up hitting a tombstone pile driver. 1, 2, 3. Finley retains the WCW World Television Championship. Good match to open it. You know, wasn't fantastic or anything like that. I felt like a lot of the TV title matches don't really live up to expectations, no matter who's in the match. It just never lives up for some reason. But good opening match overall. Continued story with Benoit and Booker T, obviously, in the World TV title. So, yeah, good way to open the show, and one of the best things on the show, to be perfectly honest. Lex Luger taking on Bryan Adams. Vincent got involved a handful of times. Typical Lex Luger match. Luger gets the win at the end with a torture rack out of nowhere. What more can you say? Just typical Lex Luger stuff in WCW at this time period. Nothing to talk about. Backstage, Saturn cuts a promo. Shitty promo, might add. Talking about the gauntlet match that was supposed to be for the winner facing Goldberg. He says there won't be a gauntlet. He's facing Goldberg. End of story. Shit promo. Nothing to talk about. Number 1 contender, Cruiserweight Battle Royal. Of course, the winner receiving a WCW Cruiserweight title match later on the show, or immediately following the match, actually. Jericho was fantastic with the ring introductions. I thought he did a fantastic job selling you on the competitors in terms of just, you know, giving a damn about the match. The match itself is about as smooth as is be for a Cruiserweight Battle Royal, especially considering that you could be eliminated by a pinfall. Yeah, it's not just thrown over the ropes or through the ropes. You can get pinned in the fucking ring and be eliminated, which... Of course, the best part about that stipulation, the one time someone does go for a pin attempt, the referee was not even paying attention. You can see in clear view, the ref in the ring is not even looking. He's totally looking the opposite direction. Absolutely fucking hilarious. That the one time that someone utilizes a pinfall stipulation, the referee isn't fucking paying attention. So good stuff there, or, you know, for that reason. But the match itself is about as smooth as you expect that stipulation. You know, typical sloppiness. You know, guys like Kidman and Juventud, they were fine for the most part. But yeah, nothing really that spectacular. Came down to Juventud and Cyclope, or Cyclope. Sorry, I butchered that. Cyclope came into those two, but then Juventud looks at him, says, "Go for it," and just jumps over the top. And you're like, "What the fuck?" And then Cyclope takes his mask off, and it's revealed to be Dean Malenko making his return back to WCW for the first time since Uncensored. Makes his huge return. Jericho's in the ring because he's, you know, going to defend the title immediately. Jericho's face alone sold it fantastically. And Malenko, the pop he got for the reveal and the pop he got when the match started, and he was beating the shit out of Jericho. Man, biggest pop of the night. The crowd was so behind Malenko. And the match with Jericho was pretty good. Not as good as their Uncensored matches because the match is only a few minutes long. Not very long at all. It's mainly just, you know, Malenko beating down Jericho. Crowd loving it, and then Jericho having his comeback. Jericho, you know, locking the Lion Tamer. But, you know, at the end, Malenko was able to counter it into an ankle lock, fought out Jericho, locked in the lion, not the lion tamer, it's Jericho, locked in the what the fuck's the submission called? My mind's going blank right now. The Texas Cloverleaf, there we go. Locks in the Cloverleaf, Jericho reaches for the rope, Malenko pulls it back in the middle of the ring, and Jericho submits, and the crowd absolutely loses their mind. Huge pop from Malenko winning, and the whole situation with Malenko in this pay-per-view is probably one of the best stories WCW's told nWo era. It felt like a genuine good moment for Malenko, and you can tell the crowd was genuinely happy for him, and it was awesome. I think Malenko won the championship. The whole moment, the reveal of him, being Clope, and him returning and beating Jericho was wholesome, and it was a genuine reaction from everyone, and everyone loved it, and it was great. Like I said, one of the few genuine feel-good moments in WCW during the nWo era. So fantastic stuff overall. Like I said, the match itself, was good. Not as good as their uncensored match, but it was still good. But the moment definitely exceeds anything else Jericho and Malenko has done previously. So great stuff overall. Moment wouldn't live, obviously, very long because in WCW fashion, they ruined it. But, for the moment that they had, it was great stuff. Limo arrives outside. Doug Dillinger checks to see if it's Mr. McMahon. Of course, it's not. Then we go into the Bowery Death Cage match between DDP and Raven. Much like their Raven's Rules match at Spring Stampede, it had a good start. I had fun at the beginning of it. The senses of the match was it was steel cage, last man standing. There's no pinfalls. You had to basically knock your opponent out to be a last man standing to win it. Basically in a cage. That's basically the rules of it. I like the opening of it. I like the weapons. Raven just unloading a bunch of different weapons into the cage, which he had trouble unloading, by the way, which was pretty funny. I thought him struggling for a minute, but he was able to get everything in the ring. They utilized all the weapons, some great stuff, some great counters. DDP hit Diamond Cutter, but then the Flock came out to try and help Raven. And then Van Hammer fights off the Flock with the stop sign, fights them off in security or the Riot Squad, I should say, that Raven brought out with him, ended up being Kidman and Horse. They played in the match, but then DDP had to fight them off. So it came very similar to how their Raven's Rules match ended up being, which ended up, being DDP fighting on the Flock while Raven sat in a corner for like 10 minutes. That's essentially what this ended up being. DDP did give Kidman, though, another fucking awesome Diamond Cutter. Kidman's held on to the cage, trying to do like a Hurricanrana, but, DDP caught him in like a power bomb, but swung him forward. So when he let go, DDP caught him to a Diamond Cutter. Absolutely awesome spot there. The only highlight in this entire show, I'll say that. So great stuff. Canyon returned afterwards once DDP got the win. Raven hit a Diamond Cutter, but DDP got up. DDP hit a Diamond Cutter on Raven. At the 9.5 count, I'd say DDP got up, and then obviously referee counted out Raven once DDP got up. Canyon came back at the end, handcuffed everyone to the cage, and beat the shit out of everyone in the Flock. So, yeah, that was Canyon's big moment. But, yeah, the match itself, it was entertaining at the start. But like I said, what ruined it was the whole Flock coming out. Awesome Diamond Cutter on Kidman, but it just ruined the flow of the match, and it didn't need to happen. But, before that, it was fun for what it was. Vinnie Mac came back before the event, showing people walking in, looking out for Vince. So, again, just hyping up more Vince's appearance. That never happened. Spoiler alert. Eddie Guerrero versus Ultimo Dragon. Solid match. Some pretty much what you'd expect from this type of match. Eddie was fantastic, but Ultimo Dragon around this time, was kind of stale and not really doing anything. But Eddie's character work was fantastic. Chavo at ringside going ballistic for Ultimo Dragon, because obviously the stipulation of this match was that if Ultimo Dragon won, then Chavo no longer had to service Eddie. So, of course, Chavo was doing everything in his power to get Ultimo Dragon to win. Eddie was fantastic with his character work. Eddie obviously got the victory after a brainbuster followed by a frog splash. Eddie gets the victory. Chavo's pissed off. He beats down Ultimo Dragon because that was his opportunity to get out of his contract with Eddie, but Ultimo Dragon screwed it in his eyes, so he goes a ballistic and attacks him while Eddie has a big smile. So, solid match, but Eddie's character work was fantastic here, as always. WCW United States Heavyweight Championship, Goldberg defending against Saturn. Not as good as their match at Spring Stampede. This match was not actually good at all. It's one of those cases where Goldberg did his Goldberg stuff, but then he tried to do more than he was capable of, and then just embarrassed himself because he obviously couldn't do it. So, like, he'd go for moves he obviously could not do very well, and he just looked like a mess in the ring. And the only cool thing about this match was Saturn got a chair. He tried to go for his running dive off the chair. Goldberg caught him for a huge spear. Jackhammer, 1, 2, 3. Goldberg retains the U.S. Championship. Nothing of a match, but that spear was pretty fucking awesome. Bischoff comes out, calls out Vince. Referee rings a bell. Bischoff wins via forfeit. Yeah, who the fuck cares? Bret the Hitman Hart taking on Macho Man Randy Savage with specialist referee Roddy Piper. This match actually was entertaining for what it was. You know, at this time, you know, you think on these two in a match sounds awesome, but this is WCW, especially in '98, so the match isn't going to be as great as you expect, but it probably went as well as it probably could have went during this time period for both men. They brawled early on heavily into the crowd, by the way, to the point where we really couldn't tell what was going on. Piper got the match back in the ring, and it was good. I thought it was solid in-ring work from both men. You know, Savage got the elbow drop for a near fall. Bret kicked out of it. So solid in-ring work overall. Miss Elizabeth came out and got involved, which led to Hulk Hogan coming out and getting involved, which, you know, he took out Macho Man's knee because that was injured, so he ended up hitting that with a foreign object. Piper got taken out by Bret, but Macho Man had a foreign object in his hand, so Bret puts... the finish makes no fucking sense. So Bret puts Savage in the sharpshooter, and he puts him in the sharpshooter. Piper is looking at Savage getting the foreign object out of his knuckles, saying like, "Hey, did you hit me?" Because him and Savage had beef before Bret hit Savage. So Piper is like asking Savage, "Did you hit me with this fucking foreign object?" And Bret at this point, or not Bret, Macho Man at this point is just tapping. He doesn't even answer him. He's like, "Fuck it, I'm tapping." But Piper rings for the DQ. So Bret wins the match via DQ, even though right in front of Piper's eyes, Macho Man was tapping out the sharpshooter. So regardless, you know, Bret won the match. But it's like, why would you have it ring as a DQ when clear as day in front of your face, Bret tapped out? Makes no fucking sense, but it's WCW. What am I going to complain about? But yeah, overall, like I said, the match is easy to sit through. No complaints from me. Like I said, probably went as well as you could have expected from these two at that time period. But yeah, just the finish made absolutely no sense. But that's WCW in a nutshell. Then we go, speaking of no sense, we go to the main event. WCW nWo World Tag Team title match. The Outsiders taking on Sting and the Giant. Scott Hall looked completely fucking wasted in this match. And this match fucking sucked. It was Sting taking on, you know, Scott Hall, which was fine. Scott Hall hits the choke slam, you know, mocks a Giant. Giant tags in. Him and Nash go at it. And there's just no effort going into this match. Nothing. No one gives a flying fuck what's going on. And then Scott Hall, the big thing, the reason why I'm laughing is just how ridiculous this match is. The match is only about 10 minutes long, might I add. It feels fucking like it's an hour. So it goes to show you how bad this match is. And the ad, how ridiculous this is, the whole payoff is that, you know, it's Kevin Nash and the Giant. Nash is going to finish out the Giant. And then Scott Hall waffles Kevin Nash. He turns on Nash. Outsiders are done. Scott Hall joins nWo Hollywood. He's not in the Wolfpack. He's staying with Hollywood with Hogan, Sting, and Giant. Waffles him. Giant covers Nash. 1, 2, 3. And Sting just has this look on his face like, what the fuck just happened? Like, even he was in disgust. Like, not only of what just happened, but just like how everything happened. He knew this was all garbage. And he sold it excellently. And then, of course, in the ring, Scott Hall celebrating with Giant, even though Giant and Sting are the tag team champions. Scott Hall, this is WCW's logic. Guys lose championships and they don't give a fuck. They're like, who cares? Whatever. I want them back next week or whatever. Like, I don't know. But yeah, Scott Hall celebrating with Giant, and then Giant's yelling at Sting to make a decision to join the Wolfpack or be in Hollywood with him. Obviously, which is set up the main event for the Great American Bash being... Get a load of this. Great American Bash, next pay-per-view. Sting versus the Giant. Winner co-holds both tag team titles. So, don't you love it when they put tag team titles on a tag team that immediately fight each other for the tag team titles? Makes absolutely no sense, but WCW logic. But terrible way to close a terrible pay-per-view. Slamboree 98 flat out sucked. nothing good on this show. I mean, it had a good match or two, but nothing I would even worth recommend going either way to see. Match of the night, if I had to pick one, honestly, I'd probably say Jericho Malenko, just because of Malenko's great moment he had. But besides that, nothing else on the show is even worth going either way to see. Bad pay-per-view. This pay-per-view really was what set the tone of WCW's downfall. You just saw just how this show was booked, that, you know, this was a direction WCW was heading in, and that obviously is what led to their demise, you know, 3 years later. So this really was the beginning of the WCW bullshit that really ruined them and their pay-per-view events. But yeah, it really sucks to see the beginning of really what ruined them. But shit pay-per-view overall, nothing enjoyable. Like I said, I didn't enjoy it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video though. If you guys did, please feel free to leave a like below. The Great American Bash, the next pay-per-view, like I said, that mentioned the main event of that show will be Sting versus Giant. So with that being the main event, that pretty much foreshadows how that show is going to be. So stay tuned for that review and see my reaction to it. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, if you guys did, leave a like below. And of course, next time, I'll see you guys later. Thank you guys for watching the video.